Ageduvend Rabbi Akiva, Ageduvend Rabbi Motti, Ageduvend jeder einer.
Good evening, everyone. We will begin in 1 minute, 60 seconds. There's a lot of people in the parking lot still parking their cars, checking in their coats. So we're going to wait till them to come in and then we're going to start. Thank you for your patience. 60 seconds.
Hit me one time. Hit me two times. Hit me 7 times. Wow!
Anybody hear me?
What?
Unbelievable, these Chabadnikim, huh? מגיעים מכל מקום בעולם. אנחנו כבר התפללנו היום, אדוני, וגם אנחנו תפילין, אז shut the door on your way out, please. Thanks.
אני מחפש את Josh Friedman. Josh Friedman is here?
You found him. Who are you?
You're Josh Friedman?
Who are you?
אני Abraham Fried.
Avram, sorry, man. I thought you were Shliach Chabad. Come, have a seat. Avram Fried, guys. Woo! Avram.
That's You know, Josh, I got to tell you something.
What's that?
I've been around the block. You know, I've been there, done that. Mm-hmm. But this is a first for me.
What?
To be talking to a Booba.
Booba.
I'm unbelievable.
Yeah, Booba Meisa. Yeah.
Wow.
Let me be frank with you, man.
Please do.
I heard a bunch of your songs.
That's nice.
And let me tell you, they're not bad at all.
Not bad.
I think you could have a real future in the music business. Yeah, I especially like some of the quieter ones.
You like the quieter ones?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. I thought you guys are rock and roller.
I like this one. It's called Until 4 O'Clock.
Until 4 o'clock.
Ad Arba. Yeah, Ad Arba.
One of my songs, Ad Arba?
Ad Arba.
Can I get a little sampling of what?
Simon, give me B flat minor, man. Yeah, that's good. That's a good key. Yeah, don't mess with my brain, man. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Temporary play. שירי כל אחד, מה לחברנו? תן בליבנו, שירי כל אחד, מה לחברנו?
Avram, are you okay?
Well, oh, Josh, that was absolutely. I think I need a little water. Josh.
Want some water?
You guys just blew me away with that.
Woo!
You know what? I have a suggestion.
What's that?
יש לי הצעה. יש לי הופעה בארץ בקרוב. אני מזמין אותך.
Hang on a second. I don't speak Ivrit kol kach tov yet. Are you asking me to come perform with you?
Lo b'diuk.
I'm one step ahead of you. Look behind you, man.
Hit me one time. Hit me 7 times. Wow.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Big time. Get the guy some water.
Tzarich mayim. Thank you. Baruch Adar. Shehakol nihi b'dvor.
Amen.
Yeah, I got a good version. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Amen. Oh, amen.
Woo.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Gamzul Tavar Mishnechnas Adar Marbin Bsimcha. My name is Akiva Balter. That is Yosy Piamenta. No, it's Yosy Simon. It's so nice to have you co-host this program. I'm thrilled to be here. You know that some of us, after this past year, we have to learn a little bit to smile again, to learn a little bit about what Bsimcha means. The last 12 months have been very difficult. This is the first step towards that. We hope by the end of it, you'll relearn how to smile. We did invite Nashim V'Tav to this program. We have a little bit of everything for everybody. Not everything will be for you, but I could tell you that you will enjoy it. Normally, we start with Tehillim and Rabbi Loi. Because of Nahaparchu, we're going to do it towards the end. We're going to work towards Bsimcha, and then hopefully at the end, say our Tehillim Bsimcha. We have a full program for you. Buckle in, enjoy it, smile with it, put your cameras on, smile. There you go, Yosy. Nice to see you. Good evening. You remember?
Great to be here, Akiva. Let's take it away.
All right. So the first thing that we want to do.
I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky.
Okay. So the first thing is I did promise you a raffle to begin with. And we want to collect smiles to be able to do this. Thank you, Shlomi, for putting on a hat. That's the spirit. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to announce a winner of the raffle. Now, what happened was, no, the raffles are not fixed. This is not Dominion software. But I put out an ad for this event about 2 weeks ago. I asked for people to pre-register, right? To register. Guess how many registrations I had? Yosy, take a guess.
The number's right on the screen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, number 1.
Yeah, very good. So one person took the time to register. I so much appreciate it. I hope she is on. Her name is Ayala Klumpus, Klompas. Are you on? Give her a big hand. She registered. She took the time to write it. Here's a $50 gift certificate to Toronto Kosher, our good friends at TK. Thank you very much. They have delicious food ready for Purim that you could either send to other people or enjoy by yourself. There you go. Thank you to Tzvi Hirschman. This is Leilu Nishmas, Reb David, Reb Moshe told me to mention it. Our good friend David Taub, he sponsored the program for this evening. So if you're not on, this is going to Ayala Klumpus. Thank you so much for participating. And now let's start with a little bit of humor. Okay, Victor, by the way, I have to say a big shout out to Victor Hyman. For those who've worked with me previously, those in the loop and those on the shear know that at times I could send out hieroglyphics and you have to spend a lot of time in figuring out what I mean. Do I say what I mean? Do I mean what I say? And Victor has been very patient in putting all these strings together. Thank you.
I want to thank you for helping me work on my meetups.
Okay.
It's a great opportunity. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm good at testing the patience, but thank you for really, and the pictures that you see and the images you see is really the work of Victor Hyman. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to a top 10 list. Let's see if we can crack some smiles early. We have a full program with you. Izzy Miller is going to be here. By the way, brothersofmercy.ca. Brothersofmercy.ca. Take the time, you know how to multitask, go there, make a donation of any kind. This program is for COVID relief fund, whatever we can get. There's a lot of people you know who are hurt by this last year. So covidrelief.ca, brothersofmercy.ca for COVID-19 relief. So we're going to attack SImcha from a little different perspective. Let's start first with a top 10 list of why this Purim is different than any other year. Why is this Purim different than last year? Let me be specific. Could you do a drum roll for me? I see a little drum roll in the background. There you go. Number 10, last year's costumes were optional. This year, everyone is wearing a mask. Number 9, last year was a novelty to have Mishloach Manas delivered to the house. This year, food delivery is no novelty. Number 8, if you were in Miami last year and again this year, there is no difference. Number 7, good, thank you for the smile. Thank you. Blima's coming up to her birthday soon, am I right? Yes, that's right. Okay, number 7, last year, if a group of yeshiva boys dressed as cops came knocking at your door and you ran and hid, that's what happened. This year, it is real cops checking if you're hiding any yeshiva boys. Number 6, last year, we were out and about and should have been locked down. This year, we are locked down and should be out and about. And number 5, why is this year Purim different than last year? Last year, we drank until we couldn't distinguish between Haman and Mordechai. This year, we're drinking because we don't want to distinguish between Trump and, okay, forget it. Number 4, last year, some people remarked about how hard it is to visit teachers, rabbanim, and principal and friends' houses. This year, some are complaining how you can't leave your house to go visit teachers, rabbanim, principals, and friends' houses. Number 3, you felt a twinge of satisfaction when you heard that all the Pesach hotels were canceled. Oh, number 2, Haman thought, who would the king want to give COVID to more than me? We underestimated Achashverosh's brilliance. Let's not do the same this year. And the number 1 reason why this year's Purim is different than last year you thought Zoom was simply part of a kid song called Zoom Gali Gali, Zoom Gali Gali. Now we know a little difference. Thank you, Yosy. Thank you very much. Okay, use the emoticons to slap to give me a thumbs up that was okay. The top 10 list. I'm sure I'm going to be getting requests for copies. Bli neder. Thank you very much. Okay, Yosy, over to you.
Okay, and now I am so honored to introduce our very special Dvar Halacha. I especially put on a black hat. L'kavod Harav Rabbi Yosef Philip. The reason why it's such a good time to introduce Rabbi Yosef Philip is if you look, Rabbi Yosef Philip is a beautiful person. And that's why his Rosh Tevis are Yosef HaKohen Philip. And if you scramble it around, the L'kavod Purim, it spells Yofa. Because Rabbi Yosef, his Torah is Yofa, and his smile is Yofa, and his halachas are Yofa, and he's a Me'urv and Abrius, and we all love him. So it's my greatest honor to introduce Rabbi Yosef Philip.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yosy. Thank you, Akiva. It's always an honor to be part of this Chavraya Kadisha, this beautiful Chevra. And it's an honor. I really appreciate it. It's not going to be Dvar Halacha. I mean, obviously, you want to discuss the Inyan of SImcha. And it's although we know the idea of Ivdu es Hashem B'Simcha, as is brought down David HaMelech, through all his difficulty, it was always everything was through joy. But I got to start off with a Mor of a Shemesh. Mor of a Shemesh is Rabbi Kloinim is Kalman Epstein. Zeichat Tzadik L'Bracha said in a Hasidic, explanation. He would say that we know that the Gemara tells us Kishem Mishnechnas Av Mematin B'Simcha, so too Mishnechnas Adar Marbin B'Simcha. So he would say Av is a time of Churban, Tzara Shechina. So Mishnechnas Av, when there's a Tzara Shechina, how do you minimize the Tzara Shechina? B'Simcha. Through doing it through Simcha. You do it B'Simcha. And he would say a beautiful thing. We find that Yosef Atzadik, we all feel sometimes, we feel that Yosef in the bar, I've even shared this with Yosef as well, with Yosy, I've shared this with as well, that it says, Vayihi, Hashem es Yosef. Hashem was with Yosef, Vayish Batzliach. Vayihi, we know is a Lashon Tsar. Vayihi, B'meach Hashveirosh. It's a Lashon Tsar. But somehow it says, the Targum, the Medrash tells us, the Targum says, Vayish Matzliach is Lashon Kofuz. Yosef was Tzaholav Samecha, he was joyful, he was happy, he was Toiv Leiv. He had an open heart. How did that mend together? How did that work together? The Tsar. So although he was Tsar, he was away from his father, was from his home and his family, but as well, and they knew there was a Tsar Shechina, But the way he overcame that and the way he was through matzliach. He was through simcha. That's how he overcame his challenges. And that's the way we all have to feel. And these days, it's so important that to overcome the Ivdus Hashem B'simcha, the Marbin B'simcha has to be in times of challenges. That's what we got to do. We got to be moisif. We have to be Marbin B'simcha, increase with simcha. That is the idea. There is another beautiful thing that I saw from the Chassam Sofer. I have to share this with you. It's something very unique, very nice, beautiful. That he says, speaking about the Churban Abayis as well, it says that by Yosy and Binyamin, when they met together, it says, Vayipel al Tzavre Binyamin, they actually fell on their neck and they fell one on each other's shoulders. So it says that Tzavar is referred to with the Churban, as Rashi mentions as well. It says, refers to the Botei Migdashos, the two, they cried over the Botei HaMigdash. He says that Tzavar is a neck. The neck is the medium between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, L'asid Lavai, in times when in joy, we will have a direct connection with the Rabbeinu Shalom. And the way he says the Chassam Sofer is, it'll be, where do we find a species that it doesn't have a neck? That's the fish. The dog has no neck. Will be on the Bechina, the same level of a fish that has no neck. Will have a direct contact. The Rosh, the Rabbi together with the Knesset, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Knesset will have a direct contact. So he says that's the idea of when we connect to the Rebbe Shalom. When does that happen? That's specifically in times of joy. Mazel Adar Dagim. That's how we can connect to the Rebbe Shalom. In times of Simcha, we can have a direct relationship with the Rebbe Shalom. He says, Kaviyachol, on the other hand, we find the other way that we find there's an animal that has no neck. And that, he says, is the Chazir. The Chazir has, the Dover Achra has no neck. And that is the koyach of Asa, of the Yetzer, the son of Yetzer Hara. That's how connected they are. How do we create a neck to that chazir? When we're connected b'simcha, just like the dog, that makes a neck that removes the Asa from the Yetzer Hara. That's what the Chassam Sofer says. So we see as something fascinating what simcha can bring. As we all know, the famous Rabbi Aaron Karlina would say, Rabbi Aaron Karlina say, we know simcha is not a mitzvah, nishka mitzvah. He said, but what simcha can bring, as it says, that through simcha, what simcha brings, and that itself is an einish. So therefore, this is what Akiva and Yosy and what you're doing for Klal Yisrael, for everyone, to bring joy. There's nothing greater about Muslim. The only way we can connect directly, have that direct connection with Muslim, is through joy. Now, there's something that Rabbi Eliezer Papo, which is, we all know, the Pele Yoyetz, wrote Chesed La'alafim. He wrote the Sefer, and he says, but sometimes we don't feel we're up to it. And this is something which brings us into this program. Sometimes, and he says, because it says, it brought down that the Zohar, it says, it brings down that one should say, Oz Yashir B'simcha. And the reason we should say B'simcha, to realize the good, the Rabbeinu Shalom, what he is, the chasadim, the kindness Hashem has done for us. And that's why we should say it B'simcha, to realize his greatness. Look what Hashem has done for us, although we weren't deserving. Halolo Avda Avodah, we weren't deserving, but Hashem still took us out of Mitzrayim. Goy mikerav goy. So, but sometimes we don't feel we're up to it. What do we do? How do we bring ourselves into a level of joy? Listen to these words. So says Rabbi Eliezer Papo, says Pelayoyitz. He brings us in a Sefer Chesed La'alafim. He says you have to be to iru im ta'oiru esahava. You have to awaken. He says make it an external awakening. Something, smile to someone else, clap your hands, jump into action, spring into a joy, into a song. Create within yourself something that will awaken within you simcha. Listen to this. This is something which is, we find that Reb Nachman speaks about this as well. Awaken some joy within you, something you don't feel, but also obviously always think of the chasadim of the Rebbe Shalom. Think the goodness. Think of what Hashem has done for us, does for us on a constant basis. So use your mind, use your body, use your smile, use to inspire. It's infectious. It creates so much goodness in the world. It resonates and radiates to everyone. May you continue only to be b'sameach. As we said, how do you come to Olam Haba? Through simcha. And through those, the badchanim, those who you give a joke, bring a smile to someone. That is the greatest thing we do, and we should do it specifically in this Chodesh of Adar through Marbin, Bsimcha, through mitzvahs and masim. We should find ways how to be Bsimcha, to awaken that, and be zoicha to the geula ashlema, the geula of where it can make say seinum eretz Mitzrayim erenu nefla is to be zoicha to Yeshua Hashem keherafayin b'karav mamish. Thank you so much, Akiva. Thank you for giving me to being part of this wonderful program.
Thank you, Rabbi Philip. Thank you. Sif Sekoya and Yishmru Das, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to listen to you. Now, we're going to go from the words to a little bit of visual. And those who were Hanukkah, we saw, who were on the Hanukkah Mezumba, saw an incredible insight into the dreidel, something that we didn't see again. We didn't see previously or possibly know previously. So I went one more time to Rabbi Usher Sinclair, who has a way of blending the modern with the old and concept of SImcha, of more really of what's comedy, of what makes us laugh. Maybe we have a little bit more insight into that. Some of you look for a cerebral understanding of SImcha, although Yosy and I discussed that really the factory settings of a Yid is to be Bsimcha, and it's only later on that he loses it and sometimes needs a reset. But when he leaves the factory, there's no question that a Yid is Bsimcha. So Victor, if you could turn on Rabbi Usher Sinclair, and we'll see a short video. That's not Rabbi Usher Sinclair, as you all know, but we'll get to that moment.
When Sir Donald Wolfett, the last of the great English actor-managers, was lying on his deathbed, one of his young actors said to him, "Sir Donald, after life so filled with success and fame, dying must be hard." To which Sir Donald replied, "Dying is easy. Comedy is hard. They say a coward dies many times. The same must also be true for comedians. Any actor who stood in front of an audience and watched the line that he's practiced for weeks clang helplessly to the floor, to roars of silence, will appreciate Sir Donald's sentiments. Comedy is hard because we don't really understand what makes people laugh. We know what's funny because we laugh at it, but trying to distill the essence of comedy into a set of principles, that's not so easy. One of the basic elements of comedy is incongruity. A bank manager wearing a clown's red nose is funny. A clown wearing a red nose isn't. Now, underlying incongruity is a deeper idea, absurdity. You see, we expect the world to have a certain natural order of events. And when these events are suddenly turned upside down, the result is comic. One of the most notable aspects of the Purim story is hippuch, sudden reversal. Haman has his gallows ready to hang Mordechai. The letters decreeing the final solution of the Jewish people have been sent out in all 127 languages to the far corners of the Persian Empire, yet in a split second, everything turns upside down. The only difference between tragedy and comedy is the ending. Jews have always been known for their humor. It's as though the world recognizes that there's something particularly Jewish about humor, and that humor is part of the essence of being a Jew. But behind every Jewish joke, there's a Jewish tear, a wry, bittersweet feeling of 2,000 years of exile, tears of sadness, tears of hope. In the Psalm of Shir Ma'alot that we sing after a festive meal, there's a line that yearns for the coming of Mashiach, the Messiah. It says, "Then will our mouths be filled with laughter." The coming of Mashiach, of the Messiah, is compared to a birth. The tragedies of our era, of our people, are his birth pangs. In birth, great pain is suddenly and instantly turned to enormous joy. And similarly, when the Mashiach comes, all the pain of the Jewish people will be reversed to joy in an instant. Just as in the Purim story, it will come in crisis, in catastrophic reversal, in hippuch. He will come in the darkest hour just before the dawn, and only then our mouths will be filled with laughter, a laughter of discovery, a laughter of total realization. And then we'll see how all the pieces in this comedy of the absurd that we call life, they all fit into place. Then we will laugh the last laugh.
No question, that's something to think about and to smile about too. And with that realization, I always think that smiling is certainly somewhat of a vaccine towards not only COVID, but to many other things. Again, I want to remind everybody, brothersofmercy.ca, when you get an opportunity to please make a donation. Go ahead, Yosy, you can introduce our next guest, and I will ask him to unmute.
I don't take lightly this serious job of introducing a very, very serious person. The one and only Rabbi Izzy Miller. We all know that Rabbi Izzy is very, very serious about his chesed. And he's very, very serious about his bikur cholim. And he's very, very serious about his mitzvahs. And his whole life is dedicated to putting a smile on other people's faces. And he's seriously dedicated to it. And he does a really, really good job. It's my greatest honor to introduce Rabbi Izzy Miller to share with us some of his serious thoughts about Purim. Rabbi Izzy.
Yosy, how are you?
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You look very, very good. I don't know what picture angle you got, but you really look good.
Funny enough, with this COVID and everybody with masks, when I walk into a store or I meet anyone, I always greet them and say, nice to hear you. Ken doch schon nicht sagen, nice to see you. Nice to hear you. Yosy, first of all, you say to put a smile on people's faces. First, on my face, you for sure did put a smile. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And when someone sent me a copy of the advertisement of tonight's event, and I saw the way you presented me, I was also mamish and ganzen surprised, not knowing what's hilarious about Izzy Miller. I guess it has to do with V'nahapechu, I guess.
Hilarity is in the eyes of the beholder, Izzy.
I hear it. By the way, when you talk about, you said I should say a good joke. A few weeks ago, a bacher from the yeshiva came over to me and he says, Izzy, can you tell me a good joke? I said, Harsh, you do me a favor. I'm learning now. Give me a call in about a half hour or so. He says, Izzy, that's a good one. You have another one, maybe? And speaking about chesed, I want to tell you an interesting story that I had about chesed. You know that we had a lot of Mishnechnas used to come to Toronto, which unfortunately we don't have now because of the COVID. But I remember many years ago, a Mishnech came to me collecting money. So I said, what are you doing? He says, I have a gemach. I said, a gemach? Of course, I would love to help you. What a gemach do you have? He says, a vaychuli gemach I have. He says, vaychuli gemach, what's that? He says, I'll explain it to you. It's gewaldig how people come up with ideas of a gemach. He says, I have a gemach Friday night. People finish Shemona Esrei a little bit later than anyone else, and they have to say vaychuli with someone. So I stand there, and I say vaychuli with everyone. Whoever wants, I say vaychuli. I said, wow, that's amazing. He says, no. It's not only in shul. Then when I get home, people just keep on coming. They knock on the door, walk in the middle of the meal, and there's everybody's there. And I stand up, I stop everything, and I say, vaychuli. So wow. He says, not only that, then a whole night, the middle of the night, somebody knocks, vaychuli, vaychuli. I hear that it's gewaldig, but I have one question to you. What do you have to collect for? What is what's question? He says, I'll be honest with you. When I travel outside of the of Eretz Yisrael, I need a substitute, so I have to pay him. This is the vaychuli gemach. I really appreciate that he gave me. I really appreciated that he gave me the zechus to come up over here and say a few words. If I can bring out a smile of anyone, it's my goal in life.
Tell us what you do when you're not making people smile. Tell us a little bit about the kitchen.
When he's not making people smile, he's sleeping.
Just by being awake, he makes people smile.
Even then, my kids tell me the next day how they were laughing when I was snoring. So even then, I make people smile. But Yosy, let's talk about others. I don't like to talk about myself. I'm very humble, but I do agree that I'm a very great person. But what else do you want to know about me that I don't want to talk about?
Well, Izzy, thank you so much for coming on. If you want to say a little bit about the kitchen, this is your chance. I don't hear. All of a sudden, the cat's got his tongue. Where did he go?
Izzy is not there?
Yeah, I think we lost him.
I think he got another call.
Okay. All right.
If anybody is speaking to Izzy on the other line, can you please hang up on him?
Kiva, somehow you figured out how to get Izzy to stop talking.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Izzy, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for bringing some smiles. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Easy come, easy go. That's what it is.
Okay, well,
I wanted to see how long. I just wanted to see how long silence I have to be for you to hang up on me. It doesn't work.
silence is not so golden now.
About Vrijdag and Purim, one thing I want to remind all the kids and everybody in Toronto, I think that it's time for all of us to start really preparing for Purim. It's sleeping in our city. We have to remember every year how we prepare the customs, the Cedars, the Mishnechnas and everything. We really have to get back into it. And the Rabbi says, I hope we shall have a beautiful, happy, healthy Yom Tov.
Oh, mine. Oh, mine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Izzy. Everybody give a big round of applause with your thumbs up, with your emoticons for Izzy Miller. You know who he is. You know where to find him.
And this is absolutely helping that you should have tremendous Satzluchen, Shatta the Shmaya, via Geit and via Dreit and Vusatit. You should always have the Eibishter with you, helping you be Matzliach in everything that you do and everywhere you go.
Oh my, Yosy and Akiva, after the show, send me a message. I'll let you know my address in case you want to send me Mishnechnas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our next guest is Moshe Rubelo. Yosy, do you want to say something about Moshe? He's also going to be on the phone. He's not here in person. And here's to talk briefly about the COVID fund, brothers.ca. brothersofmercy.ca.
How could we even scratch the surface of Rabbi Moshe Rubelo? Rabbi Moshe HaKohen Rubelo. Not only that, he's a Kohen also. We had Rabbi Yosef HaKohen today. We have Rabbi Moshe HaKohen today. What is a Kohen? A Kohen does avodas Hashem. A Kohen sacrifices to the Rebbeinu Shalom. A Kohen is like the agent that brings our karbonos. That's what we're learning about now in the Daf Yomi. The Kohen harnesses all of Klal Yisrael, and he presents us to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Moshe Rubelo is not very different than that. He's the biggest agent of Chesed in our city, helping people give and helping people get. What a tremendous broker to be. It's my greatest honor to call upon Rabbi Moshe Rubelo to say a few words.
Thank you, Akiva. Thank you, Yosy. But you're too kind. The only way I'm able to do this great work is because Baruch Hashem, with a lot of Siyata D'Shmaya, we have a great team of Balabatim and Askanim that work with us, and the wonderful donors in the city of Toronto that keep giving and giving. We were up to our third raise since COVID started. Nobody would have believed that COVID would be going on for this long, and we ran out of money more than once. And Baruch Hashem, the unbelievable Gvirim in Toronto have come up and answered the call and given generously again and again. We never ever had to turn down anybody. We started in the beginning of May, and Baruch Hashem, we helped over 280 families from over 60 different shuls in our city, and we're up to $2.6 million that have been given out currently.
Moshe, did the fund start specifically because of COVID, or was it a fund that evolved from one type of tzedakah, and then we said it should be utilized for this?
No. We have a Toronto Care Fund which helps families on a monthly basis, which was started January 2015, but that's totally separate. There are a lot of the people that are involved in that fund are involved in the COVID fund as well. But over last year Pesach, this fund was started by a larger group of Askanim who met together and started it. This is totally independent. The money is raised totally independent, and it's earmarked specifically for COVID, for families and individuals that were affected by COVID. So it's totally independent.
So anybody who wants to donate can certainly do it at brothersofmercy.ca. But on the flip side, if somebody wants to apply or is in need, who do they go to?
So then they can either call me directly. We have a line that's dedicated for the tzedakahs. It's the cell phone number. It's 416-317-3442. Akiva, you can pass it out. And then we have we created a email specifically for the COVID fund. Like I mentioned, it's independent of the Toronto Care Fund. It's info@emergencysupport.ca. So anybody can reach out. It's totally confidential. info@emergencysupportfund.ca. The emails come directly to me. They can reach out for help, and they'll deal directly with me.
Okay. I'm going to ask you for a moment before we let you go to put on your Hatzalah hat for a moment and tell us if calls are less. Are hospitals still full? What's the status with COVID and Hatzalah calls?
I mean, there's definitely more COVID now. We had a lull over the summer, over the warmer months, but the last couple of months, since probably around right before Hanukkah, there's definitely more calls for COVID-related calls. A lot of times it's just for an assessment. People are concerned. They want their oxygen levels measured. We'll assess them, and if there's a need for them to go to the hospital, then they'll go to the hospital. And that's the situation we are in right now. And hopefully, with Hashem's help, things will get better soon.
Okay. Yosy, do you have a final bracha for the Kohen before we let him go?
Moshe HaKohen Rubala was Maher. When we call him for help, he's there Maher. When we call him for help for COVID or for Hatzalah, he's there Maher. So my bracha is you should be out of business Maher. Very, very
I
soon.
agree.
There shouldn't be any work left for you to do other than the avoid in the Bsimcha, which you should be able to do.
Amen. 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 You guys are doing a great job by bringing a little bit of SImcha into the darkness over here. And keep up the great work. Akiva and Yosy, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akiva.
Thank you.
Atzlacha Rabba. Afreilichem Purim to all.
Okay. Thank you. The next on the schedule, thank you, Moshe Rubelo, again. And hopefully we'll see you again, Motzai Shabbos, for the final Lavi Subanim. Next on the program was going to be a raffle for the second gift certificate. I'm having a little bit of technical challenges of getting everybody's name into the big wheel. So we're going to skip to the next item before I introduce Rabbi Flikshtein, who you all saw, who is a great story of the Nahapachu. And he's urged me to everyone to put their cameras on. He's very interactive. And before I introduce him, we're going to take a 60-second nature break. Everybody can relax their eyes, relax their shoulders, take a little bit of breather, get up, walk around, get a l'chaim, get a cup of water, do whatever you have to do. We'll come
Akiva,
back.
can I relax my mask?
Can relax your attitude if you want, even better. And we will, Bezos Hashem, get back in approximately 90 seconds. And I will introduce Rabbi Flikshtein. It's a little bit different than what you're accustomed to hearing, but I promise you will bring smiles to the face. If there's children around, please bring them around to the camera. Turn your cameras on. He wants to have an interaction discussion with you. It's a fascinating story. Avigdor, he's going to need to share the screen so you can stop sharing. We will start at 8:10. Bezos Hashem, 8:10.
Salam Natseach is at 8:10 sharp.
Yeah. Believe me, I know the Rav is here, and the Rav, I hopefully is enjoying it. Remember, Hakol Hoylech Achar Chitim. Tehillim is now going to be an end of it. And when the Rav asked me, by the way, about Tehillim, I said, I'd like to try it at the end of the program, after everybody's avodah, we've done the SImcha, will we say Tehillim with a little bit extra kavanah at the end of it? Rabbi Lowy is taking this all in. Bezras Hashem, the Tehillim, the final say, that's going to be how we're going to move forward. So again, it's now 8:10, 8:11. Okay, here we go.
Akiva, we're going to have to offer an award for the best costume now that everybody has their cameras on.
Very good. Everyone put their cameras on. That's great. All right. It's my honor to introduce Rabbi Motti Flikshtein. Again, it's of an Ahapachu story, who has shared his personal story and has captured audiences the world over. Also known as the Rapping Rabbi, he serves as a Chabad Shliach in Wilmington, Delaware, along with his wife and 6 children. He had an opportunity to speak at the Kinnis HaShluchim. And I know when I spoke to Yosy and I said, you know, I have a rapper who became a rabbi, Yosy said to me, you know what would be more interesting? A rabbi who became a rapper. But I said, no, let's save that for another time. So Rabbi Motti, so nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you for having me. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, fantastic. So Yeshakayach, everybody in the Toronto community. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful event. A big shout out to Rabbi Lowy for encouraging the SImcha throughout this whole thing, encouraging that everybody should make their homes into mini shuls, which is very connected to this week's parsha, right? V'asuli mikdash, v'shachanti b'seicham, that every one of us should create a mikdash ma'at for Hashem, and that's exactly what this is giving us. As we know, Simcha Peretz Geder. So thank you, Rabbi Philip. Thank you, Rabbi Lowy. Thank you, Akiva. Thank you to Yosy Simon. Thank you to everybody, to the entire community, and thank you for allowing me to participate in boosting the Simcha level in Toronto, and Mirza Hashem, that'll have a domino effect to the entire world. So one of the amazing things about Zoom is that with just the click of a button, I can travel from here in Delaware and get to meet this long-lost mishpacha, this family, which is really what we are. We're one big, happy, sometimes dysfunctional family, but family nevertheless. So I can't hear you, but I can see at least a bunch of you. So why don't we start like this so we could communicate a little bit? We'll start by teaching a little bit of Jewish sign language. So it's like this. You ask a Jew, how are you doing? What's the answer going to be? Baruch Hashem, right? So let's learn the Jewish sign, the universal sign for Baruch Hashem. So how's everybody doing? Baruch Hashem. Let's try it. Come on, Toronto. How's everybody doing? Baruch, you guys are amazing. All right. We're just warming up here. So I want to share a story with you about a teenage boy named Matt. Matt grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, in a warm home with Jewish parents and his sister. But that's about all that was Jewish in his home. There was even a time that in the winter, instead of a menorah in his window, there was an Xmas tree. Instead of Shabbos dinners on Friday nights, there were constant parties and outings. Matt never saw the inside of a shul, and he had no idea.
How did you deal with when you had that enthusiasm, but there were difficulties in overcoming things within yourself, things to change, resistance to change, or other things that you would have had that get in your way? How do you overcome those difficulties?
That's a fantastic question. You're right. We're human.
And just to simplify
right?
the question, every morning I wake up, I'm going to lose weight today until I see the first piece of cake. So that's my question.
Right. Yeah. We're human. The Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, we have 2 nefashos, right? We have the nefesh elokis and the nefesh abahamis. We have the godly soul and we have the animal soul. We have that part of us that wants to be holy and spiritual and all that. Then we have the other side that's pulling us back, right? Yetzer hara, yetzer tov, whatever words we want to use. The same idea. We have those struggles. We don't just get rid of them, and it could be a lifelong battle, right? Unless you're on a really, really, really crazy high level, we have those struggles. And I definitely had those struggles and continue to have those struggles. It was very, very tough. a lot of the things, a lot of the battles that I was going through. But there was one thing which for me personally was very, very helpful. And that was that I'm a competitive person by nature. I'm very, very competitive. And when I had this notion of this battle going on inside of me, that my body is a battleground between one side of me and another side of me, and I knew which side I wanted to take, then I got into competitive mode. I said, I'm not going to let this part of me bring me down. I'm not going to let it happen. And I learned this concept of that, the sometimes we look at the nefesh of Bahamas as like a bad thing, this animal soul as a bad thing. I once heard it referred to as the interpersonal trainer. I love that. You just spoke about losing weight. The interpersonal trainer. Because if you go into a gym, you see a guy on a bench press lifting weights. Oh, he's like lifting. He's got veins popping out. He's turning bright red. Schmidt's popping out in every direction. And there's a guy standing over him telling him to do it. And so you can walk in, you could say, why is this guy, this trainer, torturing this poor man? What did he do to him? And then he finds out this poor man is actually paying the trainer to do it. What? Are you kidding me? He's paying this guy to torture him? What are you talking about? No, because anybody who knows anything about exercise means that this trainer, he's paying this trainer to make him stronger. Yes, he's putting him through tension, but through that tension, he becomes stronger. So whenever I had this like temptation, I would get that like pop into my mind and say, wait a minute, I have an opportunity to lift another spiritual weight and make my neshama a little bit stronger. This is an opportunity. So I'd be tempted. I would like run towards it. I'll tell you just one episode. I remember very clearly. I was at Or Sameach. I came home Hanukkah time, and I always used to eat at this trefa restaurant back before I went to yeshiva. I didn't keep kosher, of course. I would go to this place every time. It was called Wings to Go. That was like my go-to place. Go there all the time. I came home from yeshiva. I just started keeping kosher like 2 months earlier. And in Eretz Yisrael, it was pretty easy, more or less. Everything's whatever, more or less kosher. So I get back to Pennsylvania. I get hungry. It's lunchtime. One of my first days home. I get in the car. I drive to Wings to Go. I parked right in front of Wings to Go, drooling, getting so excited for these Wings to Go. I get out of my car in the parking lot. I already started wearing a yarmulke on this big afro. I was wearing a yarmulke. I get out of my car. I start walking towards Wings to Go. And then all of a sudden, this little annoying voice comes on inside of me and says, wait, what are you doing? You can't do that. You're wearing a yarmulke. You're representing a religious Jew. You can't just go in. So the other side of me chimed in and said, well, there's an easy solution to that. Nobody has to know that you're a religious Jew. Just take off the yarmulke. Nobody will know. You can go in, you can have your wings. It's a win-win. But then the other part came inside and said, wait a minute, this yarmulke is something that's become part of your identity. You're going to take it off? You're just going to strip this part of yourself off for what? For a few wings? Is it really worth it? And after going back and forth for maybe 2 minutes, which felt like an eternity, I remember getting back into the car and I drove away. And that moment that I drove away from Wings to Go, I have to tell you, I never felt more strong in my entire life. I was an athlete, a big basketball player, a soccer player. But that moment that I got in the car and drove away, I never felt more strong. And so when I have these challenges and temptations, I try to overcome them, and I take pride in overcoming them.
Akiva, for sure, Rabbi Flikshtein should win the Toronto Kosher gift certificate for that Messiah's Nefesh.
We can get him a wings in Toronto Kosher. How's that? Just for that. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you stay on. Rabbi Lowy is going to give you a bracha and to just talk about SImcha as well. The final word is always for the Rav HaKolay Lechachar Chitum. Rabbi Lowy, please go ahead. We'll follow that with Tehillim, and then we're going to have Shoshanas Yaakov, a beautiful rendition of Shoshanas Yaakov to end the program. Rabbi Lowy, please go ahead.
I want to thank first Akiva and Yosy for this beautiful, beautiful SImcha program. And Rabbi Flikshtein, you made everybody a SImcha. The SImcha that emanates from you, you really see what SImcha really could be. The famous question everyone asks, the Mishnah says, Kashem Mishnechnas of, just like when Of comes in, is Mematim Bsimcha, the same thing when Adar comes in, Marbin Bsimcha. So on Of, the Mishnah says what Mematim Bsimcha means. You're not allowed to build buildings, you're not allowed to go and make business Bsimcha and do things Bsimcha. It doesn't, the Gemara doesn't say what's shot Marbin Bsimcha. How are you Marbin Bsimcha? What is the Simcha? What's the Simcha you have to be Marbin? So the famous the Rambam brings down in Hilchos Yom Tov that the main Simcha is not the Simcha that you go and eat and that's Simchas. He calls that Simchas Habetan. That's not the real Simcha. The real Simcha is Sameach other people. You go make other people happy. Real Simcha. So what the Rambam is teaching us, it's like we just heard from our Flikshtein, there's pleasure and there's happiness. Happiness is real happiness you have when you see someone else because of you being happy and having pleasure. You are the happiest person. You become Simcha. Adar is the time, and that's why we find in Purim you have Shachmanis, Matanas, Lavyonim, and the Mishnah together, that you make other people happy. When you make other people happy, then that's the real Simcha. Marbin B'Simcha means you're Marba in making other people happy. And also according to what Rabbi Flikshtein with the Torah, and Simcha is the Torah is M'Sameach, Torah is M'Sameach, a person, Torah is the biggest Simcha. So Mishnechnas Adar is a time, like that's what we had over here in this program, you give money for people who for COVID, you have tzedakah, you help people, you make others happy. Izzy Miller is a person always makes other people happy. And just like Simcha emanates from a Flikshtein, you just see Yosy, it emanates from him, the Simcha. He always has the big smile that brought Simcha, and Akiva is the one who brings the Mesameach, makes everyone the Simcha. And Victor Hyman, the whole program, everything, the whole program we had, it's a beautiful Simcha. Marbin B'Simcha. The Rabbi should help that Marbin, we should be continue to be Marbin. Reflection. Thank you for the Simcha that you brought to us, and the Simcha that you bring to Klal Yisrael, the Simcha you bring all over. And Chazal teaches Kabed Hashem Mahaincha Megroincha. Everyone should give the Rebbeinu Shalom from the koichas he has, like you said. Someone is a rapper, you use rapper for Torah, you use rapper for Yiddishkeit. Everything a person has, you have to use Kabed Hashem Mahaincha. Whatever Rebbeinu gives you, you have to serve Hashem. And that's the biggest Baruch Hashem that we zoichet to see a person. Rabbi Flikshtein, you're a big influence on all of us, and you mechayiv us, to see a person become like you and who has such simchas achayim from Torah and mitzvahs. It demands from all of us to have that big simcha. Rabbi should help that this program of simcha should bring simcha for all of us. Rabbi Flikshtein should continue with your simcha. Akiva and Yosy and Victor, the whole island, everyone here should continue with all the simcha that make others people b'simcha, and you'll be all b'simcha, and we should be always all b'zoicha, like the simcha, the biggest simcha, that our homes should be full of simcha, and should all be zoicha together to be the biggest simcha, the simcha bias hagoyel, and here b'meinu, amen.
Amen. Victor, while you get the Tehillim up, and I hope that the Tehillim are said now with extra simcha and extra kavanah for everything that we need. Yonah Shamar had a question with Rabbi Flikshtein. He always has interesting comments. So Yonah, go ahead. Ask Rabbi Flikshtein your question. Go ahead. Yeah, I unmuted.
Does he also sing regular songs, not in rap?
Rabbi Flikshtein, did you hear that question?
I heard the question. Thank you for asking the question. Honestly, not much of a singer beyond, around the Shabbos Tish, but not much of a singer. One day.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Flikshtein. Again, Avigdor, whenever you get the Tehillim up, we'll thank you. Thank you so much for coming on a program. It was really inspiring. The surprise ending is great. We'd love to catch up to those characters in a few years' time again, see what they're up to and who they influenced as well.
Akiva, I'm winging it on the Tehillim. I'm going with the usual favorites here.
No problem. Yeah, 130 and 140. And then
Kira Malais Mimamakim, Kasicha Adonai, Adonai Shema Bekaili, Yenazacha Kashuva, is the Kail Takunai, Mavoina is the Shmaya, Adonai Miyamai, Kim Haslicha, the man Tivarei, Kivisi Adonai Kipsa Nafshi, Vidvara Yachalti, Nafshi Adonai Mishoimim Labaiker. Shoimrim laboiker, Yachel Yisrael el Adonai, Kim Adonai Chesed v'Harvei Moifedos, v'Yivdes Yisrael, Mikoil Adonai Yisrael. Maskil David, v'Yosy v'Amoras Vila, Koili el Adonai, Eza Koili, el Adonai Eschanon, Eshvach l'ponav Sichi, Tzerosi l'ponav Agid, Yisatei v'layruch v'atidat n'sivasi, v'yachzu alech tomnu pachli, Habei jamin urei v'ein li makir, avad manois b'meni, ein doiresh l'nafshi, Zakti alecha Adonai, Amad ad machse chelki v'eretz achayim, Hakshiva nasi kedeloisi miyoid, Hatzeleini miroid afai ki omtzu mimeni, Chaytzi mazgin avrashi, loides shmecha, Bi achtiru tzadikim, Kisigma ilalai, Acheinu kol Israel, Ansum tzov v'shivya, Oimdim bein bayom, bein b'yabashamakim, Mirachem alayim, Chaytzim, Tzorim brach v'el oid, Meshiva t'gula, Hashabak alav zman, Kori v'noim amim, Yishbech Sein Avram Zankum, Shalom Shalom Yivach Rabbi, Zisok Doiv, Ben Esther, Ves Tzipor B'Slav Tehillim, Ves Shloim Noach, Ben Feig Bracha, Ves Esther Malka, Bas Handel Rachel, Vush Kolam Salzim, Zazak Shvarch Nachman Achlim, Kapais Zicham Yosam Yishchalem Meira, the Push Shmaim, all of them Zogdem Sochra, so Fusnam Shusgop, Hashbaz Makar V'Noimar Amen. So now we want to hear you rap a little. Jewish rap. Thank you.
Okay, Victor, if you could call up the last one, or if you can call up the last video that we have for Shoshanas Yaakov. I'd like to thank Rabbi Lowy for being a good sport and watching the entire program. I want to thank Rabbi Philip, the Toronto Kosher, Moshe Rubelo, Izzy Miller, Victor Hyman, of course, and all of you who joined in on Bsimcha and giving me of your precious time. I hope you could bring some smile and influence others. And of course, Rabbi Flikshtein, all the way from Delaware, thank you for your time and your encouragement. I hope it was worth it. It's a little bit different crowd than you're used to, but the story remains the same. The message remains the same. And I hope everybody has a Mishnechnas Adar Marbin Bsimcha. Really, truly bring Simcha. A little extra smile will go a long way. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Victor.
Shoshanas Yaakov, Shekal toy ve lo yai voishi Velo yikal milo eleta Shana
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Avigdor, for posting that up. I apologize again for the non-wheel. I know all the kids, especially the kids who are on Halayla Zeh, love that spinning wheel. Be'ezras Hashem, we will do the wheel. Maybe we'll film it. I just have to get everybody's name that entered in, and to get it into a wheel, I'll film it, and maybe we'll send it out so everybody will see that the counting is legit. I see Yosy's eyes are lighting up with a chance to catch somebody that perhaps may be skewed in a certain direction. But if 75% of Aguda people win, then you can challenge it. But other than that, we will have the
as long as we can daven in Dominion.
Very good. Thank you, Freilich Purim, everybody. Thank you, Avigdor, Yosy.
Thank you, Akiva.
Production. Be'ezras Hashem. We will do this again.
Thank you, Avigdor. Thank you, Akiva. Thank you for all our guests. And a Freilich Peter. Take those masks off and party.
Yeah, we should give also a big credit to all those who got dressed up. I see the Moscow family, and there's an Albert Einstein who got dressed. We should give him a shout out as well. And there were many others. I saw Zev Weitz got dressed up as a mummy. Was that a mummy? Right, a mummy. And then Avigdor put a mask on. But is that really a mask, or you were wearing it the whole time? Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And thank you, Mr. Schmoozes. I see we have another Kohen who watched over us as well. Thank you very much. Birchas Kohen, thank you for 2 hours. Thank you very much for joining us. It's nice to see you. Thank you. We should get together in shul as well.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. We'll leave the room open for 5 more minutes. If you still want to scan or chat to other people, you can go ahead.
Thank you.